Привет and welcome back to another episode. It is I, your host, Patrician of Venice here, guys. Yeah, so webcam's back. Hell yeah, Electric Boogaloo 2. We're doing it better with Blackjack and all that other stuff. Yeah, ignore the mess. That's my bed, by the way. Don't really have a cover for it. Yeah, so anyway, um, as you may or may not know, there happens to be a virus outside. It happens to be something quite terrible and quite awful. It happens to be the LaCouf, as some people will call it, and YouTube doesn't really like when people say the C virus word. So we're gonna not say that. Um, for those of you, I mean, everyone should know because it's literally affecting the entire world. For everyone uh, who might need a reminder, though, all the way back in, I think it was March, they locked down the country. 15 days to slow the spread. And all the way back in March, what's the date today? It is, oh yeah, December 3rd. So for some places like California, you've been inside for quite a while. New York, you've been inside for quite a while. States like Florida, DeSantis might be a little insane, but lo and behold, you're not locked inside. So if you live in a state like Florida or South Dakota, you don't seem to be too affected by the virus. You're still taking those precautions, but at the same time, not really all too much to worry about. Meanwhile, places in California, New York, Jersey, places like that, it seems to only be getting worse with the lockdown, and more importantly, with spikes in cases. But I don't really want to talk about virus politics and stuff like that. But the main thing that's bugged me most, and yes, I know I'm using Louder with Crowder's website. Shoot me, I get it. Um, is that people who own businesses who are losing everything and have done everything they possibly can to stay open and stay COVID free. Oops, said it. Um, have done everything in their power to stay on top of this and stay open and stay kosher with the rules, you know. But long behold, they've lost it all. I know, in fact, several businesses in my area where I've seen people who were going very strong before the virus all of a sudden shot down immediately afterwards, which completely destroyed them, destroyed their life savings, destroyed their family's potential. Meanwhile, we see places like Amazon and the big box stores like Best Buy and Walmart and Target get richer and richer. We're seeing the greatest wealth transfer from poor to rich that this nation's ever seen. Ever seen. It's absolutely disgusting. And it's absolutely terrible. And the problem is, our government gave loans and uh, grants to places that don't need it. The Kennedy Space Center does not need a grant. If the government came in after the first COVID bill, which, by the way, I never got my first COVID check from the government, if they came in and they said, okay, here's, $10,000 for a month for you and your business to stay open. And that's only towards business owners, I'd say, something like that. Then I think people would be able to shut down for a month for $10,000, pay their taxes, do whatever. But instead, we have to give millions of dollars to big corporations who don't need it, who absolutely don't need it. The fact that you think Target or Amazon or the Kennedy Space Center, like these arts departments, they don't need these fundings. Colleges don't need funding right now. It's a joke. You need to keep the small business alive. You need to keep everyone good. You got to keep everyone, sanguine and not crazy. But this guy here um, gets in trouble because his business is open when a restaurant, I think it's 2 blocks for him, is open. Oh, wait, no, he's Michigan. So he's staying open to defy the lockdown. And he's going to get in all sorts of trouble and he's going to get all this fines and whatever. And he can't deal with it anymore. He has a life, he has a family he has to provide for, and I'm sure the people working for him have the same thing. And I'm not saying if you're scared of the virus, I'm going to make you go outside. I'm saying if you're absolutely terrified, stay inside. But if you're willing to take that risk and go outside and work the way you need to provide for your family, then go ahead and do it. Look, I don't have a family that I need to provide for, needless to say. I have a family that I like to help out occasionally. I like to give some money if my parents are looking a little tough, or my sister needs some money, or, something like that. I'm here for them if they need my help. But I live on my own, basically. I got a roommate, but I take care of what I need to take care of. I pay my bills. I do what I need to, but my my landlord's not going to take a rent uh, delay because of COVID. At first they did, and that was nice, but I mean, they're not going to do it for the, what, 9 months now? They're not going to do that 9 times. I'm sorry. They're going to want a rent check, and I've paid my rent every time. But if I had a family I had to take care for, and I had to, also pay rent or pay my mortgage or whatever, it's a joke to think that we'd be in a situation like this right now. I don't know how people are dealing with it. I don't know how people are not getting divorced from losing their mind from talking to their wives all day. But it's just absolutely shocking that we live in a society. A little Batman joke for you there. We live in this time now where we're shunned by our neighbors because we're going outside. We're being shunned by the government and getting fined by our government for trying to do what's best for us and our family. And you're telling me we don't have the ability to provide? What are we going to do? The first stimulus check was $1,500 or something like that. First of all, I didn't get mine. Second of all, and I filled out all the paperwork. And second of all, that's not enough to live on for 9 months. Like this guy says here, look, if I'm torn on the give $2,000 to every American. Where is he? I guess it's not in here, but he says if everyone gave $20,000 to every American and told us to stay indoors for 2 months, then we do it, let the virus pass. But we live where the House won't pass COVID stimulus checks because they want to be petty and fight against Donald Trump. And he's on his way out. I understand that. And I get that. And I hope the minute he's out, Nancy Pelosi turns around and says, okay, now it's time to pass this stimulus check. And it's absurd. We have people suffering. I know people who I work with, and thank God they have a job and we're able to work. But I know these people, and they're suffering. They got 2 or 3 kids, and their wife or their husband got laid off, and it's just them, sole income for the family. And I make pretty okay money outside of this. I ain't making leaps and bounds, and I'm not poor neither. I'm just starting out of college. I'm doing what I need to do, but this is an absolute joke. We do our part. We need to do what we can. But we can't. We're not allowed to. And the fact that we're sitting here and we're not... The fact that we're sitting here and I'm allowed to work and other people aren't allowed to work and they're losing their minds. They're shooting themselves. They're doing whatever they can to relieve themselves of boredom. We need to do something about this. We can't just keep sitting inside. If you're in a virus zone, one of the red zones, fine, I get it. But we don't need to keep locking people down. We don't need to keep shutting down small businesses. I don't want Jeff Bezos to own everything. I don't want one day to be, I'm going to go to Amazon.com and buy a house. I don't want to go to Amazon.com and say, this is where I'm going to get my prescriptions from. Amazon owns so much already that Amazon's a great company, and they do a lot of good things, and, they're scummy people too, I'm sure, but I don't want Amazon to be the monopoly. There should be no monopolies in the United States, because it destroys creativity and innovation when you can buy out the competition. And what we're doing right now is destroying everything, potentially, that could help us beat back giant monopolistic powers. You go to China where it originated from, and there's more freedom in Wuhan right now than there is in New York City. It's a joke. And my family's from New York. all right? My dad's a bastard. My mom's crazy. But it's not the same New York as 20 years ago. It's not the same. We've given up. The will of New Yorkers have shut down and died, basically. It's dead. You have some people who are willing to defend us, like Heshy. Heshley Tischler, yeah. You have people like Heshy Tischler who, God love him, goes around and calls things out like it needs to be called out. And he's trying to stand up for the right of just average day New Yorkers and the Jews in New York. It's great. He's a great guy. And we need more people like him trying to stand up to authoritarian menaces like Cuomo and de Blasio. But we don't. We don't have that. And every state needs a Heshy. But we need to save this country. And we need to first save it by opening up. And if you're willing, go back to work. Because I know people who are stuck at home and would do anything to go back to work. But because their business is non-essential, they're stuck at home and they're literally shooting themselves. We can't have that. If you're willing to go back to work, let us all go back to work. Or else we're going to give up our position on the world stage to China. And I don't know if you know this or not, but China's got concentration camps in Xinjiang where all the Uyghur Muslims are. And it's been proven they're selling human body parts, and they're suppressing freedom of speech and destroying the independence of Hong Kong, and they're trying to conquer the free nation of Taiwan, the true Republic of China, Taiwan. We're at a crossroads, people. Do you want a world dominated by America, or do you want a world dominated by China? Because these are our two options. And yes, America has its problems. But you know what America does not have right now? Concentration camps. Do you know what America does not have right now? Active human organ harvesting brought on by the government. And, we can reform and fix America from within. But there's no way anyone in China can fix the government of China and their atrocities.